So today we're going to talk about how to make more putts with less practice. I get asked all the time, John, I appreciate the drills, we're enjoying those, and that's great, but I barely have time to play golf, much less get out and practice my putting. Are there some simple, fast, easy things that I can do to get better at putting without practicing a lot? The answer is yes. Here's 7 tips to make more putts with less practice. The first one is when you're out on the golf course and you're walking up to the green, you're walking up to your ball, I want you to notice 2 things. One, know the overall slope or the highest point on the green. Like on this green, this is obviously, because now I'm up here at the highest point, which means generally speaking, putts are going to break that way towards the water because they pan around there to the water. There you go. Because they always do. Second thing I want you to notice is also the high point for the terrain for where you are. Like if I come down here a little bit, I notice I'm in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a gigantic bowl. So anywhere around the center of town, the putts are always going towards the strip. In this instance, I have mountains out here to my west. And if I look straight that way, stratosphere, which means if I have what looks like a flat putt on this course, it's going to go to the stratosphere. But you take those 2 things into consideration when you're putting. Second thing, camera person, come down here. So we're going to line up a putt, and I want you to think about putts in terms of 18 inches. All right, so on the green, I'm going to put a tee there, kick the goose poo out of the way, and then about 12 inches behind my putt, I'm going to put a ball. You can practice this, but when you're actually playing, what I want you to think about is you read your putt, see where it needs to go, and then on that line, you practice, you can put a tee there, or in your mind, you would have a little spot. Like if you want to come up here, come this way, I'll show you. Like, see that little spot? It's a spot of dirt, sand on the green. So what I'm looking at when I'm thinking about the putt is I want my ball to roll over that. And you go, why would you do that? Because if I get the ball, the right line is critical. That spot is the right line. So I don't look at anything else except for my ball in that spot, and I roll the ball directly over that spot. Or in this putt, the spot where I want my ball to roll the line means it will hit that tee dead in the center. So you can practice that a little bit. Then when you get out on the green, you find a discolored blade of grass or a little mark where somebody has fixed a divot or any kind of a little thing you can, and you target on rolling your ball over that spot. If you really want to drill this down, you can practice it on occasion with 2 tees. Here's the spot I want to roll over, and then all the way into the ground, the spot I want my putter head to pass over. So now, this helps me keep my putt on line and keep the putter face square. And the thing is, if you can hit your exact target, a little tee, 12 to 18 inches out in front of your ball, then the only thing that you have to do is get the distance right. And so you can practice this same drill with a longer putt, with a bigger stroke. Doesn't matter. Work on that. And then when you're actually on the green playing, just imagine that in your mind's eye. Get the putter head over the line you want to hit, get the ball onto the line you want to hit. Tip 3 of these 7 tips to make more putts without practicing is when you're on the golf course playing, don't only read your putts, read everybody's putts. When you're out playing, there are 4, if you got, you're playing with a foursome, you got 4 putts to read. So as you're walking up and reading your putt, look at theirs and think, okay, I would hit that one just a little bit that way. The point is, you read only your putts, you get to watch 18 holes worth of putts when you're having a round. You read everybody else's putts, and you're not telling them, oh, I saw yours is going to break. You keep your mouth shut about that. You don't want to be a jerk. But just notice other people's putts, and when theirs doesn't break the way that you thought it would or as much as you thought it would, take that into consideration. But you notice that kind of thing. That helps you get more practice at greens reading while you're actually playing so that you don't have to take the time to play around. All right, tip number 4 to make more putts without practicing is this. When you're standing around waiting for your turn to putt, you can work on your stroke. Simply this. Take your hands, put them on the golf club like so. Thumbs touching your middle or your birdie finger right on the side of the shaft. Hold your club and just make some strokes. And what you're working on is taking your wrist and all of this out of it. Being smooth here. And this works whether you do an interlocking grip, an overlapping grip, left hand low, or some kind of a version of a claw stroke. It doesn't matter what kind of putting grip you use. Just when you're waiting on your turn to putt, palms of the hands, the butt of the putter right through the pad on your palms, and then just make a few strokes. It's a great way to practice while you're actually on the green. Here's the next tip. When you have a putt that's a really big breaking putt, what you first want to do is walk to the point that it breaks. For instance, look at this one. I'm going into the side of the hill, and my target is not a hole, but tee up there. Imagine that that tee is the hole. So I'm looking at the putt, and I know it's a big breaker because it's on the side of the hill, but I don't know how much. So here's the tip. Walk up to like about right here. The putt really starts breaking. So I know from standing at the break point, I want to aim up in here. And that's a big deal because if I stand back here, I'm going to aim about half that much break. Like, here's what I see looking at the putt, and watch how it misses. It just doesn't get far enough, and then it breaks too much. But again, I walked up here and stood, and I thought the break point was in there. So let's try to go that high up to the break point where I walked. Much better, much closer to my target. So the next tip regarding very similar thing, when you're reading a putt and you're not absolutely sure about how much it's going to break, err on the side of giving it a little bit too much break. For instance, if you think, oh, it's about a half cup outside the hole, go 3/4 or a full cup. The reason why is if you give it too much break, it's breaking towards the hole. Whereas if you don't give it enough, then it's breaking away from the hole. They just end up closer when you do that. So tip number 7 on these 7 tips to make more putts without practicing is read your chips like you would read a putt. And I know that sounds a little odd, but trust me, follow me out on this one and think about this is a huge stroke saver. You'll have a lot more up and downs. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm short of the green here. This is where my ball is, and I've got a little chip uphill, and I look at it and I think, okay, I want the ball to land about there. Now I'm thinking that from this chip, if I land in that spot, the ball's going to curve up the hill and towards the hole. That's first guess from looking at the chip. But if I walk up here to the spot where I dropped this ball, now that's the spot I said I wanted to land, and I look at that putt, no, I'm too far to the right of the hole. So now I'm going to change the idea on the spot I want to land to about there. Yeah, that's much better landing spot. So let's see. Here's a goose feather. I'm going to put that goose feather, well, we're going to try. Put the goose feather on the landing spot. Now let's see if I chip to that spot, how did I do? Very close to the hole. Awesome. Now why would you want to do that? The reason that you want to do that is if I read that chip like a putt, I know how my ball is going to roll on the green. So if I hit it to that landing area, even if it misses a little bit, I'm very close, made the putt, now I got up and down. The other thing is, I kind of get a cheat because I went to here. So I know how that putt broke based on what I read. Missed, maybe that much from breaking into the hole, which means even if I'd missed that chip 4, 5, 6 feet, which you wouldn't from this distance, but let's say that I did. Now it's a lock. It's kind of like I've gotten a free read. I know exactly how the ball is going to break. So again, I'm going to make that putt, which means you got up and down. And guys, ladies, golfers, don't gloss over getting up and down. That's huge. For instance, you can miss every green. And if you have 6 up and downs, you're going to shoot 84. For a lot of you, that would be a huge improvement. You can hit only 5 greens. If you're a better golfer, you hit 5 greens and make 6 up and downs. You broke 80. And for most all of you, that's a very huge and significant accomplishment. This last number 7, this last tip on reading your chips like you would read a putt is huge. Don't take a ton of time to do that. Don't read it on the green and then walk out 30 yards and make your chip. But for the shorter ones, chip to a spot like you probably already do, but read from that spot to the hole like you're reading a putt. It'll make a huge difference, save you a lot of strokes. Hope you enjoyed these 7 tips for making more putts with less practice. As always, like, subscribe, share, and here's to you making more putts.